All right, ready to dive deep.
Always.
Today, we're tackling a career well, it's really about making a difference, social work assistant.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about like hands-on help, being there for folks who need it, figuring out those social services, which, let's be honest, can be a maze sometimes. And of course, we're using RoleCatcher's career library.
Because job searching shouldn't be a guessing game.
Right. So let's just jump right in. When I hear social work assistant, I think someone who's like deeply caring, dedicated. But what does that actually mean day to day? What are they doing?
Okay, so imagine this. A family new to the city.
Okay, tough situation.
They're struggling, right? Like basic stuff. Food banks, finding a place to live that they can afford.
It's more common than people realize.
Yeah, exactly. You, as the social work assistant, you become their guide. You advocate for them. Seriously, you're a lifeline to these essential services.
Oh, it's more than just like handing them a pamphlet. Here's the number. Good luck.
Way more. This is about building trust, understanding their specific struggles because everyone's different, and then connecting them to those resources that honestly can change their lives.
That's powerful.
And it's not just about individuals either. You could be working with like entire communities, building programs, even advocating for policy changes, bigger picture stuff.
Wow. Okay, this is already sounding way more dynamic than just assistant. Like there's real impact here right from the start. But where does this all happen? Is it all office work or is there more to it?
Oh, get ready for variety. You could be in hospitals, schools, community centers, government agencies, the list goes on. Wow, okay.
RoleCatcher even had a case study, a social work assistant working right in families' homes, providing that like super personalized support.
Being in someone's home like that, that takes a special kind of person, right? Someone
Really?
compassionate, but also able to just roll with it.
Definitely. In RoleCatcher's Guide, it talks about that emotional side of the job. You're in sensitive situations constantly, seeing people at their lowest points often.
I bet.
It takes real resilience. Empathy's huge, obviously, and like a real drive to make things better.
Burnout has to be a real concern, right? Like, how does the guide address that?
They emphasize self-care big time. And leaning on colleagues, supervisors, it's not a solo mission. You're part of this team, and the goal is to lift everyone up, including each other. That team aspect makes so much sense, especially in a field where you're giving so much constantly. Okay, so someone's listening, they're thinking, this is me, this is what I want to do. What are those first steps, though? Getting into the field. I imagine hands-on experience is key.
100%. RoleCatcher is all about, getting your hands dirty, so to speak. Internships are great. Volunteering at social service agencies, even shadowing a social work assistant, just to see what it's really like.
Yeah.
Anything to get that real world experience.
It's that learn by doing approach.
Right, absolutely.
But what about the education side? Does RoleCatcher say anything about specific degrees, certifications, things that would actually be valuable in this field?
They mention that usually a high school diploma, that's like the bare minimum, right?
Sure.
But let's be real, it's competitive out there.
Oh, yeah.
Going above and beyond, that's never going to hurt. There was this interesting stat in RoleCatcher, actually. People with an associate degree or even certifications in, like social work itself, psychology, human services, they've got a leg up.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You're coming in with more knowledge, especially in those tough situations. Shows you're serious about it. Okay, so let's say experience, check. Education, check. What's the actual career ladder look like for a social work assistant? Can you move up? Specialize.
Oh, definitely. RoleCatcher lays it all out, very clear progression. Usually you start entry level, move to intermediate, then advanced roles.
Okay, I like it.
Each step you get more responsibility, more chances to lead, and obviously, the salary potential grows too.
Of course, of course. So paint me a picture. Entry level, day one. What are they doing?
Okay, so think of it as building that foundation. You're helping the senior social workers, right?
Yeah.
Learning how to interact with clients, what resources are actually out there. You might be going to appointments with clients, helping fill out paperwork, even just being someone they can talk to.
Just that listening ear, yeah.
Exactly. It's all about those connections, learning the ropes.
Gaining that confidence. And then intermediate level, what changes? More on their plate.
Yeah. That's where you get to use your brain a little more, get creative, solve problems. You might be creating social programs, assessing clients, advocating for their rights, things like that.
Okay.
There's this really cool story in RoleCatcher, an intermediate level assistant. She noticed this gap in resources for kids aging out of foster care.
Oh, tough situation.
Right. She actually started a support group just for them, and it made a huge difference.
That's amazing. See, that's what I love about this. It's like you have an impact at every level. So then advanced level, I'm guessing that's leadership roles.
100%. You could be supervising other assistants, making policies, handling budgets, even advocating for like system-wide change within the organization or even bigger.
Wow.
RoleCatcher profiles this one assistant, advanced level. She was instrumental in getting more funding for mental health services statewide.
That's incredible. It's like you don't just assist anymore, you shape the whole field.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about passion for this work, but what about the actual skills, personality traits? What does RoleCatcher say is essential to being a good social work assistant? Because it seems like it takes a very specific type of person.
Yeah, you can't just have the right degree, right? It's got to be something more. RoleCatcher is big on empathy, obviously. Active listening. Social perceptiveness is another big one.
Yeah, those are crucial, especially when you're working with people going through really rough times. What's social perceptiveness, though? Like, what does that look like in action?
Oh, it's fascinating. RoleCatcher had this case study, an assistant. She used her social perceptiveness to diffuse this, like, really tense situation between a client and their family member. It's about picking up on those cues, those things people aren't saying out loud.
So almost like a sixth sense, reading between the lines.
Exactly. Is someone holding back? Is there more to the story? And then how do you approach that delicately?
It takes a lot of awareness, being present, not just intellectually, but emotionally, too. Are there other skills the guide talks about? Besides those, like people skills, which are obviously important.
Critical thinking is huge.
Hmm.
Social work, it's a lot of navigating complex systems, fighting for your clients, making tough calls under pressure.
It's like you got to connect the dots, be resourceful, especially with limited resources, things changing all the time.
Yep, you got to be adaptable, think ahead, and always, always be learning right alongside your clients.
It's a field where you're constantly learning and growing, it seems like.
For sure.
Speaking of learning, does RoleCatcher talk about staying updated? Because things change, right? New policies, new ways of doing things, the whole deal.
It's true. Social work isn't something you just learn once and you're done.
Yeah.
The guide actually really pushes continuous learning. Workshops, joining those professional groups, keeping up with the latest research. It all goes back to being the best advocate you can be.
Because the more you know, the better you can help. Makes sense. Okay, so we've covered a lot. The day-to-day, the skills, building a career. But let's talk about RoleCatcher specifically. For our listeners ready to go for it, how can this platform help them land a social work assistant job? Because it's competitive out there.
RoleCatcher, honestly, it's a game changer. Think about it.
Right.
Everyone's trying to stand out, right? And RoleCatcher gives you the tools to do that.
Okay, so break it down for me. There's the resume builder, the interview questions. What else makes it so good for this career specifically?
Well, the resume builder, it's not just about making it look good. It's about highlighting the stuff that social work employers actually care about.
So tailoring it, basically.
Exactly. And then the interview questions, it's one thing to know the answers, but can you actually say them well under pressure?
Right.
RoleCatcher lets you practice, get comfortable talking about yourself, your experience. That confidence comes through.
It's like a mock interview, but on your own time.
Exactly. And don't forget the AI feedback. You get personalized notes on everything, resume, cover letter, even how you answer interview questions.
Wow, that's really something. Like having your own coach in your pocket. Well, we've thrown a lot of info out there today. Hopefully you're feeling pumped, ready to make a move.
I hope so.
Before we go, any final words of wisdom for someone starting out in this field?
Follow your gut. If you really, truly want to help people, if you're energized by those challenges, by fighting for what's right, this could be the career for you.
Love it. And remember, RoleCatcher's there every step of the way. From that first application, to rocking the interview, to landing that dream job. Big thanks to our expert for, just sharing such incredible insights.
Happy to be here.
And to you listening, as you start your own social work adventure, think about this. What impact do you want to make on the world? Until next time, keep diving deep and keep making a difference.